On April 15, 2013, two men decided to ruin the lives of many innocent Americans. This was the 117th running of the Boston Marathon, the oldest marathon in the world. It just goes to show you that there is not one public place in the world that is 100% safe anymore. The Boston bombings help show that Americans are still vulnerable to attacks, no matter how much technology we use for national security. I will teach you the process of the attack, why the two brothers hurt innocent people, and how the bombings affected the families. At 2:38 p.m. on April 15th, two brothers, Tamerlan and Dzurkov, were seen on surveillance cameras walking towards the finish line at the Boston Marathon. They split ways and walked to different locations where they sat their backpacks down. 10 minutes later, the first explosion went off and the two casually walked away from the scene. The explosions were devastating and the scene afterwards was chaos. The bombs injured 260 people and killed 3. Afterwards, Dzurkov told FBI investigators that the brothers first were planning a suicide attack on the 4th of July. They later changed their minds and decided to use pressure cookers and other homemade devices. The two brothers made the devices sooner than expected, so they moved their attack up to April 15th on Patriots' Day. When the Boston Marathon was taking place, after driving around the city, the two picked the finish line as a location for the attack. No one expected a bomb so devastating that was only made out of homemade appliances. Dzurkov revealed to the investigators that he and his brothers obtained the idea for the pressure cookers from a newsletter published by Al-Qaeda. Part of the motive Dzurkov gave to the FBI was that they were striking back at Americans for their actions in Iraq and Afghanistan. The two believed that the 9/11 attacks were a conspiracy against Muslims. The bombs were a pressure cooker filled with nails, ball bearings, and black powder. They were designed to shoot sharp nail at anyone nearby. A lot of victims suffered complex lower body wounds to the back and to the legs. But with the great medical infrastructure in place, many lives were saved that day. With such a horrible attack that took place, you wondered to yourself, how could anyone do such a thing? The two brothers came to the United States from Kyrgyzstan at a very young age. The older brother, Tamerlan, was 15 and Dzurkov was 8. Tamerlan's transition to the United States was not going as well as his younger brother. He once told a photographer, "I don't have a single American friend. I don't understand them." Tamerlan was also deeply enamored with the Muslim religion. His devotion to Islam became annoying to his younger brother at first, but as time went on, Dzurkov stopped caring about school as much and started devoting his life to God also. He told a friend 2 weeks before the bombings that God is all that matters. It doesn't matter about school or engineering. When it comes to school and being an engineer, you can easily cheat. But when it comes to heaven, you can't cheat that. After the attacks, the brothers were on the run. Law enforcement asked the public for any photographers or any photographies or video footage that could be relevant to the investigation. 3 days later, the Federal Bureau of Investigation released videos and photographers of the two brothers with their backpacks setting them down near the finish line. Later on that day, a campus officer at Massachusetts Institute of Technology was shot and killed, and also there was an armed carjacking in a neighborhood in Boston. These two events spurred the police to believe that there was a tie with the Boston bombings. As the police pursued the stolen car, a firefight began between the cops and the two brothers. More than 300 rounds were exchanged and one cop was wounded, but they injured the older brother, Tamerlan. He was later taken to the hospital and pronounced dead. With one suspect still on the run, the cops began a massive search, which included going house to house. Officials requested that residents stay inside their homes and businesses not to be open. With no success, the order was lifted, and a man in Watertown went to check on his boat in the backyard. He saw a rip in the cover, and inside Zherkov was hiding. Soon after, the police arrived and took Tsarnaev into custody. After a small shootout, the effect the bombings had on people was enormous. A family of 5 were all standing together, watching the runners at the finish line when the second bomb hit. The mom lost her vision, father lost some of his hearing, Jan, a 4-year-old, lost her leg, Henry, one of the 2 sons, was safe, and Martin, an 8-year-old, lost his life. Jane was sent to the ICU at Boston Children's Hospital, where she underwent 12 different surgeries and was woken up weeks later to her parents telling her what had just happened. The family had stayed away from the public for the most part, but posted on their blog, "While we have made progress with our physical injuries, the emotional pain seems every bit as new as it was 4 months ago. An hour doesn't go by that we don't feel the agony of Martin's death and the senseless way it came about." Though many lives were changed that day, the city of Boston came together and rallied itself. This won't be the last time a terrorist attack takes place on American soil, but we can use this information to help prevent it. We can use the great medical infrastructure that Boston had during the marathon to save lives of those who were injured and get to the root of the problem before someone attacks innocent people once again. Thank you.